So I managed to interview 4 business owners, and I wanted to find out from them actually what is their greatest challenge in managing people. So when I asked them to actually write down on a post-it, and this is what some of them actually said, right? So one of them, he actually runs a listed company, and this is what he actually, the questions he actually felt that was really important to him when managing people. So the first one, how do I build a great culture? Second one, how do I inspire and motivate my staff? The third question, how to manage gifted staff but very temperamental. And then the fourth one, how to push for peak performance. So that's the challenges for one business owner. The second business owner, he runs a couple $100 million business, and this is his challenges. Number one, creating a performance-based culture which is more self-driven. When you hear these things, I want you to try to clump up and try to group them up together. What are they actually trying to say? What are they trying to actually find out about? Number two, same guy, building a minimum level of discipline in the company for operational effectiveness. So the second question. And the third question, right? Getting people to think deeper and commit more. So that is the second business owner. The third business owner runs a company in food, and if I tell you, you kind of know who it is. So he runs a couple of $100 million company as well, and this is his few questions or few challenges. So number one, how do I get people to be more rah-rah? Rah-rah, basically, when I asked him what really was it about, he actually told me it was engagement. How do I get more people to be excited, engaged about the product, the company, the organization? Question number two, how do I get people to be better team players and team builders? Number three, how do I get my people to be more creative, bolder, and braver in their ideas? So he's trying to get people to actually talk more, get people to actually suggest more. And number four, how do I get my people to be more socially conscious in terms of causes, in terms of not only just looking inward, but looking outward? So that's the 4 challenges for that business owner. And the fourth business owner, he's actually one of the leaders in Singapore for culture. And I'm going to share with you what is his 3 greatest challenges, right? Number one, how do I get my team to take the initiative and be more proactive rather than just be reactive? So he finds himself always having to push rather than them coming and saying that, hey, actually, I want to do this and do that. Number two, how do I nurture standards of excellence instead of just doing the bare minimum, right? And number three, this is interesting. In a more woke world, how does one manage effectively when the team underperforms, especially if they aren't pulling their weight and cry murder when called out? So when you think about all these questions, if you're a leader, these are some of the questions you might have as well when it comes to managing people and managing performance. So if I were to group all these things up, actually what they are talking about, most of it is talking about this thing called behaviors. I want to change behaviors. But how do I do that? So when I was actually sharing with them a little bit, what is behaviors? If you have a set of behaviors that you really like and you kind of like intentionally form, what do you call that? That's called a culture. So what they are actually saying is that they are trying to figure out, how do I build a culture that actually helps the individual to understand that these are the behaviors that we allow, not only we allow, we encourage in this organization. So most of these questions actually can be answered if we go down to the culture. And what kind of culture are you actually building, or are they building? So when I ask them that question, a lot of times, how do I define culture? How do I get the culture stuff right? And one thing we talked about and I shared with them is this thing called values. So when you have values up there, values help you to almost change the mindset. And when you change the mindset, you're able to change behaviors. And that's what they really want. So when we were going through that certain exercise about how to get their values out, one of them shared that actually my value is about everybody coming to work being looking after each other like a family and do to others what you would want them to do to you. So when he shared this and I asked him, is this the only value that he has? He said, yeah. Do they know about it? Yes. So one thing I shared with them that the values that they came up with, which really came up with quite a lot. Personally for them, they came up with quite a lot. When you come up with a value, your value must hit two things. Minimum two things. Number one, relationships, which for this guy, this business owner, he did. But number two, which is important, those values must hit results as well. So when he was challenged, or his greatest challenge was actually everything to do with results. Why? Because a lot of things that he says is all about relationships, but he doesn't push for that results. So now after that session, he kind of knows that actually the whole time that they are actually doing things and not hitting that level of excellence or results was because that I focus on relationships, having a safe environment, having a fun environment. So he's telling me that actually, yeah, everybody has fun, but they don't really give a shit about the whole idea of results and excellence. So he went back and he was actually able to actually think about how do I create certain values that's very personal to me that actually hits results. So one thing to think about for yourself is really that if you are a leader, what kind of culture do you want? Which also means that what kind of behaviors are you looking out for? I'll share about that the next time round.